regardless. Hello, Rachel. Um, Wants or needs for anybody from your practice today? We definitely have some opening going. We have some heart openers and working towards some back bends. So we'll definitely get a lot of that in today. How did it feel on Monday with like the scorpion pose we were doing on our sides for the stretch and everything? Good.
The left lower tension came back though.
Oh, all right.
Folding right. I think whenever I fold forward.
Keep your knees bent, allow it to be not quite ragdoll where you're completely like just letting gravity do everything, but knees bent, and it may just be that it could be that there was too much stretch happening. If we have tightness in the hamstrings and we're forcing ourselves into a back bend, into a forward fold, then the tightness in the hamstrings is going to keep trying to pull down even as our body wants to expand that way. So it could be that. It could be that the effort in like the back bend that we were doing, that there could be more engagement to the midline, more of like tucking tailbone and engaging your core to look out for the back there instead of having it do a lot of the work. Does that make sense?
Let me know if I'm doing it wrong.
All right. I'll keep an eye out for you. You're in a good spot. You've been doing this for a good amount of time, but we'll keep an eye on it for sure. I don't think we're supposed to throw our partners under the bus here when we're talking in yoga, but my one partner and I have been doing yoga. He started doing yoga with me once we were in the pandemic because the gym closed, and I was like, I can teach you, and we can also have other people teach us. And so it's been 4 years, and I still have to tell him every single time, this is not Warrior 2 or whatever it is. Like always the foot is doing something different. And so the awareness is not always there, but I said, that's not the case I've seen with you. I feel like telling you should come to the teacher training thing and like just get it drilled about how to like step your foot every single time. But that might not be helpful in the end. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to everybody online now and who might show up later or in the recording later. We'll start in our comfortable seat, whatever that happens to mean. We are doing some quad stretches again, and so if rather than sitting cross-legged style like you are, you would like to sit in Vajrasana with the toes tucked or not, that will start to get us into the knees and quads a little bit more, and you can certainly use blankets and bolsters and blocks to support you if it feels like it is too much pressure on the ankles, on the arches of your feet. And as you get yourself a little bit more situated, just notice what changes with the change of your seat. New sensations, whatever it happens to be. Let the hands rest wherever they might, however you're sitting. Take a nice full breath. Let it be exaggerated so that the shoulders really lift toward the ears and feel like everything expanding and opening. And on the exhale, let it also be exaggerated where there's like deep settling and drawing down. There we are. And let your next inhale be a little less exaggerated, but still feel and sense the expansion. And because it's less exaggerated, it's moving with how the body is actually expanding. You're probably moving past the breath, so when we come into the next one, try to maintain that space that you created on the inhale, even as there is an exhale and this want for the interior to contract. And once more, again, full breath, belly moving in all directions. And now, just as we're about to exhale, draw belly button in and up a little bit. Feel the low back lengthen and feel a little bit more intention to the breath. Maybe lifting and lengthening out through the crown of your head as the air moves up and out. And again, try to stay tall and full as the exhale completes and the next inhale has more space to move. With your next in-breath, bring hands to heart center. Our core stays engaged, but the chest does want to expand and lift a little bit toward the thumbs. Shoulders stay heavy down the back. One more full breath in like this in your Anjali Mudra. A sign and a symbol and intention of self-reverence. And with the next in-breath, release the hands back down to your lap. For those of us who are in Vajrasana or some version thereof, we're just going to walk the hands forward and come onto hands and knees in tabletop. If you're in, or for those of you in Sukhasana, find however you would like to get to your tabletop position. Have your blocks nearby. We might start to, or we will start to get into some stuff pretty quickly. But we'll take just 3 rounds of cat, actually it'll be 4 rounds because of this other way that we do. I've been doing cat-cow stretches from a teacher online that I've been following. So because of how we're going to be coming into this a little bit later as well, just take a look and see how the hands are grounded. And either the pointer fingers are both parallel to each other and pointing forward, not turning in. That'll be a internal rotation. It'll round the back and take away from the openness we're trying to do. Parallel or wider, so it could be pointer fingers pointing to the front left and right corner of your mat. Press down very intentionally into the length of the hands. Grip the mat with your finger pads. That'll help to ground through the fingers. As we do that, typically the knuckles on the fingers want to lift up, so we continue to grip even as we press down through the length of the fingers. And here in our table, lift here through the back of the head so that your view is just over the top of your mat. And on the next inhale, as we press the hands down, hug back toward the knees and send the heart forward, we're also going to have the option here of hugging heels to sit bones. And then on the exhale, as we push the hands down and away to round the back, we'll take both feet off to the right for our cat stretch with a little bit more of a twist and lengthening on the left side. Inhale back to center for your cow stretch with heels hugging to sit bones. And on the exhale, take the feet off to the left. This time, getting a deeper stretch through the right. One more time like that on each side, unless that does not feel good on your knees, in which case feel free to just take cat-cow stretches without any of the extra stuff that we've got going on here. Good. And after you've finished on both sides, we can all move a little bit differently with our breath. We'll come back to middle. Hug shoulder blades onto the back. So it's going to bring the heart a little bit more toward the floor, which is why we want to come onto blocks. Probably at least the lowest setting, maybe the medium setting. You can certainly use the highest setting. We're not doing anything too wild here on them, but we do want to have a little bit more space between us and the floor so that we can keep the left knee down. Same thing we just did in our cat-cow stretches. On the right, heel to sit bone. Lift through the inner right thigh to take the foot back. And then as we push the hands down and away, allow the upper back to round a little bit as you draw knee to chest coming forward, getting in a little tighter. One step, maybe still several steps to get that right foot to the top of your mat. You can adjust that back knee if you need to. And you can stay low if this feels better for you in this moment. This will still be a stretch through the left quad and the left hip flexor. Maybe there is space for more of that, and we bring hands onto thighs. Now we're upright, and just notice what has changed on the left leg there. And then on the next in-breath, reach both arms up and overhead. So this is more of like low lunge, right? We're trying to maintain neutral through the back. Turning this more into the possibility for a back bend. You can lunge a little bit deeper into that front knee, hug thighs together, lift a little bit more through the heart so that there is more of this back bend happening, which makes this Anjaneyasana. We're lifting and lengthening out of the pelvic bowl, so we're not just falling back, but we're thinking heart lifting to the sky. And on the next inhale, come back upright. Bring your hands to the blocks. You can make another adjustment to that back knee if you need to, and you can bring the blocks onto a higher setting and walk the blocks back as we come into an early half split. Heel down, toes pointing up. Keep as much of a bend in that front knee as you need to have the stretch through the back of that right leg be at the meatier part of your hamstring. We're pushing the big toe ball mound away. We're trying to hug the pinky toe side of the foot back. Next, exhale, if you would like to, as we keep length here, elbows bend wide, and we lower the heart a little bit more forward without the chin leading the way. That adds to the intensity. Inhale, come back to your Anjaneyasana. One more time with each of those. Rising up any of the variations you would like to, hands down, hands to thighs, more neutral or more of a back bend. And on the inhale, come back up, finding this flow. Hands come back to the blocks. So move the hips back in space and find a stretch. Maybe it's a little bit more, maybe it isn't. On the right side here. And on the inhale, come forward. Have your blocks framing out the top of your mat. Place the hands down, lift the back knee, and step back to a down dog. We have to do that same thing on the other side, so we will keep the supports we have there that we might need. And on the next inhale, as we lift both heels really high from the inner right thigh, take the right leg up and back. And so this was the side that had deep contraction on it. Now right heel to sit bone. Right knee can open wide as the right heel now starts to hug more toward the left sit bone. Right, three-legged down dog with a hip opener. Nice. Adding some other things here, getting tricky. Inhale, come back to three-legged dog, but keep the knee bent. Push off the back foot to come forward to plank with the right knee bent and the foot lifting. And on the exhale, hug knee to chest. Hug knee to chest as much as you can. You can round the upper back. You can still take several steps or maybe one big step to come to the top of your mat. Back foot follows. Uttanasana once more. Exhale, fold in, or actually first Uttanasana, I should say. Good, so keep your knees bent, nice there. You start to feel the stretch there with it, right? So you might even keep your spine parallel to the floor here and just work on the effort here of stretching through the hips and lengthening the low back without gravity pulling us further. Good. Inhale, come up just enough to come onto fingertips. Step one foot back and then the other, finding yourself in tabletop once again. Making use of the blocks once again, if you would like to. Here in our tabletop, right knee stays down now. Left knee stays bent as the left inner thigh takes the leg further up. Heel gets really close to sit bone here as well. On the exhale, hug knee forward toward chest. And again, with the support and lift of the blocks, maybe we can take a bigger step. We adjust our back knee as we need to. Listen to each side. You can stay low here, hands to blocks or floor. Hands to left thigh, arms overhead, neutral through the spine for more of a low lunge. Or on the exhales, you lunge deeper into that front knee. Lift and lengthen out and up towards the sky, letting the back bend happen from the mid to upper back. Good. Nice. Finding our flow here. On the next inhale, come back up to neutral. Bring the hands down to the blocks. Walk the blocks back as you press your left leg towards straight. An opportunity to invite some curiosity without any judgment about how this side is compared to the other. Left big toe ball mound pushes away. Pinky toe side of the foot tries to hug back. You might notice your kneecap moving. That's some muscles there helping to stabilize it. And on the next exhale, keeping length here, maybe bending through the elbows, and allowing yourself to fold forward a little bit. We might have done that twice on the other side, but we'll do it twice on this side if we want. Good. Inhale to come forward. Front foot presses back down fully again. Maybe that back knee moves. Find ourselves in your version of low lunge or Anjaneyasana once again. Inhale to come more upright. Hands to blocks. Deepen or not your half split. Always listening to the hamstring there on the left leg. Keeping it active and either staying more upright and focusing more on length and lifting here, or letting the elbows bend so we can hinge from the hips. Good. Inhale, come back. Left foot plants, adjust that back foot as you need to. Bring your hands down to frame it out. Lift the back knee, step back to your down dog. A chance to reset for just a breath. And then as the next inhale begins, lift both heels high. From the inner left leg, lift left leg up and back. Again, paying attention to the hips. Knee bends, heel to sit bone. And you can open that left knee to the left as long as you keep pushing down into the right hand to keep the right shoulder from collapsing. Good. Nice. Nice breath in. Nice breath out. On the next breath in, bring your bent knee to neutral, but keep it bent. Push off the right foot to send yourself forward to this funny core plank here. And on the exhale, send left knee to chest. Again, noticing how this feels through the hips, the low back. Plant the foot. Lift the back foot a little bit more. Step forward to your Uttanasana. Wider or shorter stance if you would like to, or narrower, I guess is the word. We are for just 3 breaths, making use of blocks as you need to. Any little movements that feel nice. Both hands either on the thighs, blocks, or the floor, so we have something to push into to remind our shoulders to not collapse towards the ears. And on your next exhale, fold in a little deeper, whatever that means for you. Deeper might mean staying right where you are and maintaining for another breath. And then with a little bend to the knees, either rolling up the spine if you would like to, or bending the knees more deeply and coming up through chair pose on our way to Urdhva Hastasana, tall mountain. Lift through the heels in your tall mountain. Yes, exhale, bring the heels back down. Release hands down by your side. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Good. Nice full breath. Ground down into the feet. As we continue to push down through all 4 corners of both feet, reach the arms wide, like you're trying to bring shoulder blades apart almost, and up overhead. Let the shoulder blades move down the back once again. Turn the palms forward, and on the exhale, pull down into cactus arms. That'll give us a reminder to lift a little bit more through the heart here. And on the next inhale, we'll start to stretch elbows a little bit wider to the space behind us. Be mindful about your core being strong here. This is a place where we can fall into or release into an unsupported back bend heart opener. However, some of us, if this feels nice, you're going to continue to play here. If you would like to go further, we're going to reach out and extend through the arms. Bend the elbows so our fingers are pointing down and bring our hands to the low back. Elbows hugging to center as hands push into the low back, as inner thighs push back and push our glutes back into the hands. Good. Ground down through the legs. Lift and lengthen through the crown of your head. If there's space for a little bit more of that elbows hugging to center, do so. And we'll come into mountain pose on the next exhale as we release. Sun salutation B. Inhale to reach up. On the exhale, sit back and down, chair pose, Utkatasana. More weight in the heels, but the balls of the feet are grounded. Knees are further back so that we can see our toes generally. And on the next exhale, continue to hinge from the hips, letting the legs move towards straight. Uttanasana once more. Inhale, come up to fingertips. On the exhale, step one foot back and then the other. And we have a remix here in our Sun Salutation B. If you need to bring the knees down, you're more than welcome to from your plank pose. If you're keeping the knees lifted, the inner thighs keep lifting even as we hug the outer ankles to center so that the hips aren't collapsing to the floor as we slowly lower. Maybe through Chaturanga Dandasana, maybe fully to the floor. You're welcome to come into Sphinx, to come into Cobra, to come into Up Dog if it's part of your practice. And exhale back down to the floor or to your Chaturanga. On the inhale, push up through plank. Exhale back to down dog. Here comes the remix. Inhale, right leg lifts. On the exhale, one step or many to step to the top of your mat with that foot, moving through core plank if you would like a little bit more of that. Feel free to lower the back knee if you need to. Our transition, though, we're going to need to be in crescent. Have your blocks at the top of your mat. Inhale, rise up for crescent. Again, finding neutral, so that contraction through the core wants to pull the body forward. Then we lift through the heart as we stay active and strong in our fire for more neutral. Good. From here, moving into either supported warrior 3 or a standing split. On the exhale, bring belly to thigh, keep reaching forward, hands to blocks or the floor. Lean forward, so come onto the tippy toes of that back foot. And now with pressure in the hands and the right foot, rise up, balancing on that right foot. Left leg is lifting. This is our supported warrior 3. You can come onto fingertips or coming into standing split. Palms to the blocks or the floor. Elbows start to bend as we send heart toward the thigh, toward the knee, toward the shin, wherever it might be. And you can bend that knee a little bit. You can bend that back knee as well to lift a little higher. And I say it sometimes, you don't have to look at it. It doesn't change it at all. But standing split is that top foot pointing practically straight up to the sky. Doesn't have to be. Good. On the exhale, we're going to step that back foot back. Good. Hey, we came down really nice on that one. That's exciting. Inhale, come up to your crescent lunge. Because that's tiring, right? No one was like, oh, we could be here for like 5 more breaths. On the exhale, frame it out. Step back to your down dog. Take the breath if you need it. You know where we're moving. Inhale to plank. You can catch up from your plank, knees down or not. Knees down or not to get to the floor or to Chaturanga. Sphinx, Cobra, Up Dog. Choices. And exhale back down to your chaturanga, supported or not, or the floor. Press up and back to your down dog. On the inhale this time, left leg lifts, but also come up really high on the right foot. Bend the knee. Heel to sit bone as you hug knee to chest. Keep the hips lifting, giving us some space to step forward a little bit more for the lunge. Inhale, rise up for your crescent. One breath. And exhale to settle. On the next inhale, as we lengthen, start to hinge from the hips as the exhale begins, connecting more of belly to thigh, hands to blocks or the floor. Lean forward as you come onto the tippy toes of your right foot as you stand through the left leg, and maybe come onto fingertips. Again, the possibility of taking supported warrior 3. Or as you feel ready, coming down onto the palms, blocks, or the floor. A little bend to the left knee, a little bend to the right knee if that helps to keep lifting the inner right thigh higher. Foot can be pointed or flexed, whatever you want to do. Trying to stay neutral here with the hips, though. Keep that outer hip on the lifted leg heavy. Good. And now on the exhale, same thing. Start to settle that back foot back. Landing in crescent again. Awesome. Inhale, rise up for the breath. And on the next exhale, frame it out. Step back to your down dog. If you like to finish the flow, we'll move through plank to the back bend and back to down dog. You're welcome to stay in down dog. You're welcome to stay in table or child's pose. Move with your breath. And as you make your way to down dog, allow yourself to catch your breath there. And for those of you who are not moving through the rest of the flow, allow yourself to come into your down dog. And then we'll step forward, or you can always walk the hands back toward the feet to come into your Uttanasana at the back of the mat if that feels more stable and safe for you. Good. Finding your Uttanasana. Maybe you take a hold of your strap along the way here, and again, either rolling up the spine or moving through chair, with or without a strap by your side or in your hand. Good. So reason for the strap, depending on how this feels through the shoulder, we're going to do a bind in our mountain pose and turn that into a bind in our forward fold. And so we did this nice stretching action that really hugs shoulder blades onto the back. We need that for some stuff we're doing later. You can still bring hands to the low back, elbows hugging to center. You can take a strap and grab a hold of it at the length of your outer shoulders. And then with palms forward, you're just trying like everything to pull it apart to nothing. So that'll help you to get there. And because we're going to be here for a couple of breaths, if you're using the strap for this, you can slowly walk the hands closer and closer to each other. For some of us, it will be fingers interlaced and trying to pull the hands apart to send the heels of the palms to center, elbows hug to center, and either staying here, or if it feels right, through the shoulders, through the pecs, extend out through the fingers, unbending the elbows. And without turning this into a back bend, just find length and height with the shoulder opening, keeping the shoulders, fronts of the shoulders moving wide. Nice. You don't have to have it tied up in any way. You can just have it to hold on to, yeah. Good. You're using the strap. You've got your hands interlaced. You can also undo both of those for this here. Next little bend to the knees, all of us to start. Notice how it feels through the body as we continue to reach out through the interlaced fingers or the gripped fingers of the strap and hinging from the hips, more of belly to thigh. Turning this into a bound Uttanasana, forward fold. And there it happened. It always feels like a chiropractic adjustment in a good way for me. If it does not feel good for you, come out of it. Good. All of us who have our arms long or pushing toward long, slowly let the elbows fully rebend, bring the hands to the low back.
so that you can release the grip, hands to the floor. Good. Something we did in Monday's class here. We're going to keep our left foot right where it is, but walk your right foot to the edge of the mat. You can use blocks, but from this wider forward fold and with weight in the right foot and both hands, slide or step that left foot straight back like you're coming into lizard lunge, Uttan Prasthasana. We'll all lower the back knee to start. We can up it if we want to. Do be mindful that you're grounded through the inner edge of that right foot and knee is hugging to center. Staying more upright here on fingers, on finger pads, on blocks. We're hugging and gripping the mats. We're drawing energy up from the earth and stabilizing and pulling the heart forward. Nice full breath in here. You can lift the back knee if you would like to. That will certainly increase some sensation. It may not be right for you. And whether you have the back knee lifted or not, we're going to walk the right hand in front of the right foot and wide. So we got the shin and our upper arm connected. Left hand will walk wide here as well. And as we reach back through the back knee or back through the back heel, reach heart forward and find some more stretch on the right side of your torso because of the right knee pushing forward, even as the hips are trying to move back. A very awkward lizard lunge. Good. On the next inhale, walk your hands back into center. So we have a couple of options. We're going to come from plank here into side plank. If you need support in side plank, you can come into side plank with the back knee down in a modified table variation. Or you can keep your right foot and right leg forward, turn the toes away from you, roll onto the blade edge of your left foot for a different sort of support in your side plank. And you certainly have the option of coming into full side plank if you would like to, in which case our right foot steps back. We roll onto the blade edge of the left, the inner edge of the right foot, and as we ground down through the entire length of the left arm into the floor, reach your right arm to the sky, hug shoulder blades together, and then try to reach longer through the fingers in your side plank. Nice, everybody. On the next exhale, lower down to knees, supported plank or table. Catch your breath. With the knees down, probably further behind you, tuck the toes, lift up to down dog. Keep your right foot right where it is. Take a big step forward with the left foot. Lizard lunge, second side, coming into a little differently. Let the back knee lower, at least to start. Left knee hugging to left shoulder. Inner edge of the left foot stays grounded. Stay high up on the blocks or on your finger pads. Again, gripping and hugging the mat. As the hands press down and hug back toward the back knee, let your heart come forward. Find a heart opening with less of a back bend. There's like a million alerts coming my way today. They'll all have to wait. Good. And same thing on the other side. If you would like to, you are welcome to lift the back knee. This side may not feel right for you. Left hand walks in front of and over, however you want to take it wide to the left so we have shin pushing into upper arm. Right hand walks a little bit more to the right. And as the hands press down and try to pull back to the back of the mat, the heart comes forward. That shin is pushing into the upper arm, even as we reach back through the back heel a little bit more. Good.
One more breath here, and then we have our options once again for side plank. On your next inhale, bring both hands back to the inside. You can keep the back knee lifted, turn your left toes to the left before coming onto the outer edge of your right foot for your support. You can have right knee down, right foot goes wide, left foot steps back for your side plank, or with the back knee lifted, left foot steps back. Ground down into the right foot as you roll to the blade edge of the right, inner edge of the left. And again, as shoulder blades hug to center, can you reach and find more length through the space of the arms? Good. Inhale to come back down to center. Lower the knees. Lower yourself to the floor. We'll see how this feels. Scorpion pose can be kind of tight. We definitely have some space here in the room, though. We can walk our arms out to the side, palms down like a T, and we do want the elbows to be kind of in line with the shoulders, maybe slightly below, or you can take cactus arms face down here for the twist we're coming into. The elbow bent is kinder to the shoulder blade, I'll say that. We're going to walk the right hand closer into the right outer shoulder, stabilize in the left, whatever you're doing with it, you're pushing down. And as you push more into the right fingertips, start to roll onto the left side of your torso, bending the knees along the way into chair pose on your side, getting this stretch through the upper chest, through the pec minor, through the fronts of the shoulders. If you would like to go further, you can keep your left knee bent or lengthen the left leg and spin right knee to the sky as you bring the ball of the right foot to the floor, sensing that it maybe is reaching up. Depending on how this feels on your neck, you can keep your gaze neutral, or you can start to turn your head up a little bit, not a lot. Good. One more nice breath in here. And on the next exhale, settle into the twist. And as the next in-breath begins, unwind. Take that right arm back out to the side, or cactus arm like the other side. Push down into the right side as you bring the left finger pads into the outer left shoulder. Push into the left fingertips as you roll to the outer edge of the right side of your body. Bring the legs into chair legs. Staying here if you would like to. Maybe lengthening the right leg as the left knee spins up to the sky, maybe coming down onto the ball of the left foot. Your right arm is preventing the twist from moving too far. The left is how you apply the pressure to deepen the twist. And then it moves more fully through the torso, down into the hip flexors, down into the leg because your top knee up to the sky. Good, and on your next inhale, come out of it. You can make a pillow with the hands if you'd like to. You can press back to child's pose if you would like to. Good. And here as we start to catch our breath again. We're slowly going to make our way back into table. Maybe table on blocks. Maybe rising up to down dog. You can do down dog on blocks with the blocks at their lowest setting, gripping the edges of the blocks with your finger pads. Working on taking a bigger step forward here so the blocks give us that support. We do want to be mindful. The thing I was playing with a couple of times here with the hips is how high can we keep our hips through the transition of down dog into the lunge. So we'll take right leg to the sky, bend the knee, heel to sit bone, no hip opener here, but that knee and inner thigh lifting is going to give you the stretch. Then we contract through the front body, draw knee to chest, keeping the hips as high as you can as you start to bring shoulders over the wrists. And maybe that right foot steps forward another millimeter, another inch further than before.
lower the back knee. You can turn your right toes a little bit more to the front right corner of your mat or slightly widen your stance here. And staying on hand, left hand to the floor, maybe left forearm to a block or the floor if you do that for your twisted monkey lunge. Adjust that back knee as you might need to. And as we draw left heel to left sit bone, reach our right arm to the sky as we twist to the front of that right leg. And now with a strap, or just reaching back or making the connection, reach your right hand back toward the left foot. Bend the left knee even more to help you to get a hold of the outer edge of the foot. And then as the foot tries kicking away and we bend the elbow to strengthen, that will deepen the twist. Does that feel all right? Because now this is one of the ones where having this already built in, it can be helpful. Yeah, there you are. It's kind of measured out perfectly. You know what you're doing. Inhale to unwind from the twist. Moving a little faster here. Bring both hands down to the inside of that right foot. You can walk it back in closer to center. As you lift the back knee without it moving totally straight, keep a little bend to it. Spin to the inner edge of the left foot. Let the left hand lead the way as you rise up to Warrior Two. Good. From our Warrior Two, come back to Cactus Arms. We got our right knee forward. We're going to take our right arm up to the sky. Bend the right elbow, bring the hand to the nape of the neck or to the upper back, but keep the elbow wide so you can keep ears in line with shoulders. Left arm reaches up, left hand finds right elbow. And if you can keep your ears in line with the shoulders, you can start to walk or stretch or draw the right forearm to parallel to your spine. Then we do want to find that contraction of the core once again. There's a tendency for this to start to turn into a back bend. Nice. In your Warrior Two, keep your knee bent and pointing straight forward. That outer hip hugging in. Nice. On your next in-breath, come back through to Warrior Two, extending and expanding out. Good. On the exhale, windmill the hands down. Lift the back heel, step that front foot back. 2 or 3 breaths here in your down dog. Again, maybe coming onto blocks, maybe coming forward to tabletop on blocks so we can do side 2. Nice. On the inhale, lift really high up on both feet. Keep that inner left thigh lifting and lifting the left leg up and back. Bend the knee, heel to sit bone. And as you stay high up on the right foot, keep the hips lifting high as you start to draw knee to chest coming forward through core plank to find maybe a further step forward. Back knee lowers down. Again, you can widen that left foot. You can simply turn the left toes more wide. That gives some more space and openness on the left side there. Right hand is grounded. Left arm reaches to the sky. On the exhale, as you twist to the inner left thigh. If you come down to forearms, feel free to do so. Start to bend the right knee as deeply as you can. And the further that we can take that knee back, the more that as we bend the knee, the pressure comes off of the kneecap and onto the very top of the thigh. Left hand reaches back. Left hand reaches back with a strap. Left hand reaches back to take hold of the outer right foot. And again, as the foot tries kicking away, activate the bicep. Deepen the twist here. Nice. On your next inhale, stop kicking first before you release. I didn't say that on the other side, but there was no whiplash happening, it sounded like, on anyone's legs. Feet finding the floor very aggressively. Press the hands down. Lift the back knee, but keep it bent as much as you need to come down to the inner edge or to come onto the Warrior Two foot back leg. There it is. Right hand leads the way to draw you up to your Warrior Two. Deepen the lunge with the knees, front knee, and toes pointing straight forward. You can even try to push
muscularly that knee a little bit wider so you can just see the big toe. On the next inhale, come to cactus arms. And take your left arm up to the sky. Bend the elbow even more. Let the hand find the nape of the neck again or the upper back. Being mindful that the ears stay in line with the shoulders, so we're maintaining neutral through the spine. If it feels like the belly has given out, re-engage through the core. Right hand presses down onto left elbow as left elbow pushes up. And maybe that elbow pushes up even more, deepening the stretch through the torso, not just the tricep and shoulders. Good. And check in with the side. If it feels all right, if it feels like you can deepen it, if it feels like it isn't good to go as deep, adjust as you need to. And on the next inhale, unwind. Pause in your warrior two for a second. Hands push down to find that lift through the heart once again. And keep that lift as you exhale. Complete the windmill action back down to the floor. Send your left leg back to plank, to down dog. We are going to find ourselves all in down dog here in a second, but nice to take our down dog, or we'll come into table in a second. Our down dog here is nice to stretch things out. Inhale, come forward to plank. In your plank pose, drop the knees straight on down. Walk your hands back. You can be standing on the knees, hands to hips. We're going to do Ustrasana here twice. A couple of different options for each of these. Very much up to you. You can keep the toes tucked both times. You can have the toes untucked both times. You can do tucked and then untucked. This is the bigger reach, so do be mindful about that. We can take a more closed variation here where you got the hands pressing into the body. Some of us may go back, hands finding the heels. Some of us, if that does not feel right for us in our bodies, with our toes untucked and very intentionally pushing down into the floor to create some breaks, we'll come back into cactus arms and lift through the heart as we keep the core strong. Keep pushing into the tops of the feet to support you in the back bend. All right? Some of you are here. You can stay here if this is what feels right for you. You can extend the arms back out, and just like we did earlier in class, now bend the elbows, have the fingers pointing down, elbows hugging to center, inner thighs keep pushing back, core keeps active, heart keeps lifting as we continue to push down into the tops of the feet, curling heart up to the sky. Maybe one hand finds the heel, maybe the other hand finds the heel. Hands and heels push into each other as we try to send hips forward, heart to the sky. Ustrasana, camel pose. Good. Inhale to slowly come up. One hand to hip, other hand to hip. Push down into the tops of the feet. Send yourself forward. You can sit back on the heels for a second or come down onto hands for a second if you would like to. So we can do that one more time. Any of the variations. If you want to untuck the toes this time, you want to tuck the toes. If you want to go further back, it is up to you. On your next inhale, come back to standing on the knees. Make the adjustments with the feet if you need to. How did that feel on your back? All right, cool. Only forward, all right. So it isn't, so the contraction piece is definitely not it. It feels like it might be too much of a stretch that happened at one point. So inhale, come back to cactus arms. We'll all start there. Pushing into the feet, whether it's the tops of the feet or the balls of the feet. Again, inner thighs press back, core engages, heart lifts as the hips press forward. Maybe we extend through the arms. Maybe we bring hands to the low back. If you're reaching back to touch the heels, do your opposite side first that you did on the other side. And again, heels press into hands, hands press into heels, hips press forward, heart lifts, back bend. Nice. Be mindful how the head is going back. If you do want to drop the head back, we want to lift and lengthen and stretch out through the crown of the head first, so our cervical spine is neutral before we maybe start to tip the chin up. And on your next inhale, unwinding out step by step, come back to standing on the knees, come back to hands and feet and knees. Maybe sit back on the heels, and actually we will all sit back on the heels or find a way to find your seat so we can come into our bigger pose here. So last week we were playing with bound tiger pose or Baddha Vyagrasana, where we were reaching opposite sides, so left hand to right foot to make the connection. You're welcome to return to that if you would like to. If it's what you know, if it's just what feels better for you, if you want to continue to play with the thing we introduced last week, what we're doing here is knee hugging to center, foot kicking away, bicep resisting like we've done a couple of times here, and we're lifting heart, engaging core, and using inner thigh to lift that back foot a little bit higher. That's bound Vyagrasana, and you can do that for both sides. Adding a little bit more today, what we did on Monday, and we'll go one step further here for some of us today as well, is instead of opposite sides, we're doing same side. And so that is nearly impossible to do from table, which is why we do this funky thing that some of us chose to do for our side plank here, which is keep one knee down, take the foot off to the side, step the opposite leg back. Here's our side plank where some of us were. Lift the foot, that's outer hip work here. Knee bends, we've done this many times here today. Hands reach back, we've done this a couple of times here today as well. And the foot tries kicking away, the bicep activates. We want to keep the front of your thigh generally, so it's not trying to move back. We want to keep it in line with the front side of the body so that the heart opening happens from the mid to upper back. And maybe it starts to spin a little bit more up to the sky for something called partridge pose, or a version thereof. So we can do Baddha Vyagrasana, we can do partridge pose in the tabletop variation. If you would like to come into partridge pose from side plank, I posted it on my Instagram this week, and I'm trying to be more consistent with it. We can do that same pose, that same movement here from our side plank, where we find ourselves in plank, inside plank, outer hip work again, knee bends, hand finds ankle or foot. It can be pointed or flexed, doesn't matter. And now, with all the stretch work we've been doing here through the fronts of the shoulders, we can start to turn heart to the sky, hips towards the sky. It's almost on the way to Wild Thing, right? So here's Wild Thing. Here is partridge pose. It's a lot more core work to find your balance without that back leg going down, because gravity is like, ooh. And so we're resisting against gravity, all right? So you have any of those three options. I'll guide us through the tabletop variation first, and I'll see where everybody is, and then I'll give some cues for coming more fully into it through side plank, all right? So we'll do the right side first. If you're doing this through table, you're gonna have your right knee down, take your right foot off to the side, step your left foot back and come onto the inner edge of the foot. Ground down, find stability, deep integration of right shoulder and right arm. Shoulder blades on the back, left hand to the sky. Good, oh, lots of us want to be here today, all right, cool. Lift the back leg, or I guess that's your top leg. That's outer left hip lifting. Start to bend the knee, heel towards sit bone. You don't have to go any further than this. You can do this and start to spin up to the sky without finding the connection. You can reach your right hand or your left hand back to find the ankle, foot, whether it's flexed or not. And as the foot tries kicking away, activate the bicep, allow the heart to spin a little bit more to the sky. That will start to take the knee up if you would like to. That is the transition into this, and we all want to be here today, so that's great. Take another breath here if you've got it. Then because there's this kicking action, stop the kicking. Then slowly release, come back to that back foot down, move through your side plank variation, and come back down to table. Maybe sit back on the heels if you would like to. Questions, comments, concerns, anything about it? Thought of?
Put the back foot fully flat to the ground instead of being on the blade edge.
In our side plank,
Yeah.
like here. Yeah. It's just a preference, I think, in some ways. Like the more your foot is down, the more stable it's going to be. But you can see that's a deeper stretch than on the outer ankle. And so if that bothers your outer ankle, coming onto the inner edge and staying very active there helps keep the ankle neutral. So it's more about how it feels in your body. Good. So we want to we're generally keeping the head here neutral. Actually, I was giving a lot of extra cues on Monday to not do this when we're in our poses on our side, to keep our equal length here and activation on both sides. So our gaze is only moving where our chest is moving. So we're starting to look up to the sky. The more that we do that, it starts to feel a lot more wobbly. But if we're turning, we're keeping here and the rest of the body is trying to open, you're going to prevent that from happening, and it may be more possible, but the head isn't following, so the whole body can't move. It could be that doing that you might introduce a little bit of a crick in your neck. Nothing anybody wants, right? So good question. We'll try side 2 now. All right. And then we'll do a twist or two to come out of this, and then Shavasana. So find yourself in your tabletop once again. This time it will be left knee down. Take your left toes wider than the mat so we change the shape of our foundation. Step the right foot back. Come on to the back of the right foot, maybe warrior 2 foot, maybe side plank foot. And again, as the left arm is deep in the left shoulder and the left shoulder blade is deeply integrated onto the back, take your right hand to the sky. Use your outer right hip muscles, your outer right torso to lift right leg parallel to the floor. Then the knee bends, heel towards sit bones. You can reach your right hand back without connecting. You can reach the right hand back with a strap. You can reach the right hand back and connect. Everyone's looking really nice here. Find your stability, find your neutral through the neck, and maybe the hips and heart start to spin a little bit more to the sky. Nice. Beautiful, everybody. With your next inhale, unwind how you need to. Find yourself in your table. You can take feet to one side, hips to the other. You can cross at the shins or the ankles and come to have a seat with your legs extended out in front of you. A little bit of a bend if you need to. You may also choose to sit up on a blanket if you would like. I'm going to come into Marichyasana A, and just a little teaser with C, moving there for something I'm thinking of for future classes. So come on to fingertips behind you, just slightly behind you. So we want to find that lift here. This is Dandasana pose or staff pose. So if you need to have the knees bent, that frees up the hips and allows us to stay more lengthening and neutral through the spine. You can, over time, let the inner thighs get heavier and heavier. And we have our feet about hips width distance though. We're going to keep our left leg extended out, draw our right knee in. Doesn't have to be super close, but certainly closer in than it was. Stay on the left fingertips. Reach right hand to the sky. Hug your inner left toe to center so that leg is as neutral as can be. Foot can be flexed. You can try to stretch toes away from each other if you would like to. And here on the exhale, as we pull down through the elbow like we're doing a pull up. Elbow or tricep to inner knee. Elbow tries to push wide, knee pushes back, and then we twist toward the left without the left toes following. Take a look forward and just see. It's our bodies, it's what it does. Nice. That knee keeps hugging in, That elbow keeps trying to push wide. Exhale here for the depth of the twist on this side. Here on the inhale, come back to neutral. You can walk your right hand a little further forward. Find this upper arm to shin sensation again. Left hand pressing down and away helps to just keep the spine long and neutral. Maybe palm turns away from you. Maybe you just practice what it takes and notice how it feels to bend the elbow. Maybe bring the back of that hand to the outer hip on that side. Doesn't have to go any further than that. We're just noticing things. Inhale to unwind. Lean back so you can undo the right foot. Move around. Anything you need to adjust for side 2. And on your next exhale, we'll draw left knee in. We're coming right into Shavasana right about at 1 o'clock. Inhale, lift right arm to the sky. If anyone does have to leave, you'll come into Shavasana right after this. Give yourself about 6 breaths and I will collect your stuff for you after class is done. And on the exhale, as you're pulling down, again, find this lift and length through the spine and through the heart. Elbow pushes wide, knee hugs back to center. Stabilize through the right arm, right shoulder to twist to the right. And here, if you would like to, the head can move further back to look over the shoulder if you want. You can keep it just in line with the heart as well. And keep elbow or upper arm and knee, inner thigh pushing into each other here. Exhale for the depth of the twist. Inhale to unwind. Keep your right hand down, but maybe you're on more of the fingertips, so we have this action to send us forward. Walk your left hand forward, find some stretch here. Start to walk that left hand wide. Just notice how this feels, the connection where it is. You can lift the hand, you can turn the palm away from you. You can bend the elbow to let the back of the left hand connect to the outer left hip. Inhale to unwind, lean back, extend both legs out, shake both legs around. You can scooch a little bit down your mat, finding yourself ultimately in your Shavasana right here at 101. We'll be here for about 2.5 minutes. If your body is asking for something else before Shavasana, give yourself just about 5 or 6 breaths to do so, but do commit to time in Shavasana. It has that same root word as all the other Sanskrit words, asana, and so it is a pose. It is intentional. It is about feeling into as little effort in the body as possible to simply be with your breath in stillness, letting the exhales release any tension, physical or psychological, that you notice. Letting the inhale that follows help to hold that newfound space. Maybe you are zeroing in on the breath and noticing how it naturally slows through stillness. And the exploration of the body here in Shavasana, finding any other spaces that feel tight, that you can focus on and really exhale and release. Let your next inhale be deeper than the last, be fuller than the last. And the next one, fuller still. Beginning to make little movements, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, knees and elbows, shoulders and hips. You can let the head turn from side to side, fully reawakening. And if you're moving the head, before we come into a deeper stretch, you're going to bring it back to neutral. As you bring legs together and reach arms overhead. On the inhale, stretch fingertips away from toe tips. On the exhale, heels away from fingertips. Inhale, toes away from fingertips once more. And on the exhale, draw knees and elbows to center. Give yourself a nice big hug. You can take Upasana pose, wrapping the forearms around the shins. You can do Happy Baby. Give yourself 2 or 3 breaths just to rock left and right or up and down the spine a little bit to massage out anything that you're noticing. And then if you're rocking along the length of the spine, you can rock and roll right on up to have a seat. Otherwise, roll off to one side and push yourself up to your seat. Coming back to Sukhasana, for some of us, maybe first time if we were in Vajrasana earlier. And with the hands heavy and the shoulders heavy and the eyes closed or your gaze soft and unfocused, just allow the breath and the moment here to be an opportunity to notice what changes, however small or however large that is, of a sensation, of difference, of movement, of progress. And if you'd like to continue to explore that in yourself and simply listen to the sound of one Om, do so. But if you'd like to join with me in the sound of one Om, on your next inhale, bring hands to heart center and let the exhale be complete. Inhale fully once more. The light in me bows to the light in each of you. Namaste, everyone. Good. Thank you for coming out. Thank you, Rachel, online, and everyone else who's watching later. We're on the other side of 105 here, so thank you. I'm terrible with time. If you're coming to other classes and you ever do need to leave early or right at 1 o'clock, I will not be offended. Like I said, you can leave your stuff. I will collect it all afterwards. I know that other people's time does not operate the same as my time. But this is my usual time, Mondays as well, the 6:30 time for 75 minutes. If you're interested in looking